So even though I get my predictions wrong every year, we are embarking on this for another year. Welcome to my Oscars week videos. Welcome back, or if you are new here, welcome. My name is Katrina and I make bookish content here on this channel, usually at least twice a week, and then movie reviews here at the weekend. However, this is the start of my Oscars week videos where I talk about each of the kind of categories and the movies that I've seen. This year there are a few movies that I just cannot access without a whole lot of money, and so I am going to do my best to cover every category. Today I'm going to be talking about the documentaries, the full-length documentaries, and then I'll have videos in the week for you on the shorts, the acting categories, the technical categories, the animations, and of course next Sunday, Oscars Sunday, I will have my Best Picture reviews and predictions for you. I will have left a playlist of Oscars 2021 listed up above, because I do have standalone reviews for a few of these movies already before I knew they were nominated, so those will be in there too. Yes, let's get into the documentaries. I love a documentary. If you've been following the channel for a while, you will know that. And so watching all of these was no skin off my nose. So first of all, we have a couple that are on Netflix. The first of those is CRIP Camp, A Disability Revolution, which I really enjoyed. I loved the fact that it was something that kind of hadn't been talked about before. I love the fact that it shows the changes in standards over time. I love the fact that it shows people that you almost like, that so many people were dismissed from being able to hold a revolution like this, doing it and coming together and forming this action. I loved seeing them at camp together and then seeing the evolution of their mission and their friendships and, you know, people's professional lives as well as it moved on. I thought there was some parts that made me laugh, there were some parts that made me cry, all of it made me think. It was just that good balance of a documentary for me that I like, you know, not too many talking heads, not too much original footage, just the nice balance, and I really enjoyed it. Then we have My Octopus Teacher, which is also on Netflix. I feel like this must have dropped on Netflix right when kind of everything locked down last year, because I remember seeing people watching it that I was like, you don't normally watch documentaries, you know, and everybody was having to really, you know, scrape and step out of their comfort zone in order to find stuff on Netflix to watch. You know, there are lots of books as well. This one is kind of part a documentary about an octopus, part a documentary about one man's kind of journey into marine documentaries, and then just kind of part a slow and beautiful story. There were parts of this one that also made me cry, and I again learned quite a lot. If you are not a fan of a slow film, then this one will definitely not be for you. But then I think you definitely, if you are very into documentaries, I think a sort of slower pace suits that documentary style anyway. I had no idea about some of the stuff that this guy discovered about this octopus. I also could not have got as kind of like close and familiar with the octopus as he did. And so in terms of filmmaking, it was really quite different and quite bold. And in terms of the editing of this one, I thought it was really like nicely edited. It could have been very waffly and it could have been a lot longer than it was, and I like the fact that it was tightly edited. So that one was a decent one. Then we have Time, which is on, I believe, Amazon Prime here in the US. That's where I watched it anyway. And this one is about a woman whose husband has been in prison basically the entire time that her twins had been alive. He went into prison, she went into prison, she found out she was pregnant with the twins. And so we have the many levels of the word time. You know, he's doing time, we have the time that they had together, we have the time that they've been apart, we have the time until they are together again, and then we have the time that these boys have missed out on time with their dad. It has that, and then we have the time that she has put into trying to find out when he's going to be freed, the time that she has put into trying to find his release date, trying to help him with his appeal, and then the time that she's put into her family, and the time that she's put into lecturing in churches and in community centres in order to stop people from finding themselves in a similar position to her or her husband. It was in black and white, which I thought was an interesting choice. In terms of editing, I personally didn't like this style of editing. It was very choppy, it was very bitty, it jumped around quite a lot, and we had a lot of that, you know, that kind of like Blair Witch style, like almost gonzo type of filming, which I personally don't like because it gives me motion sickness. So the concept and the kind of narrative of this documentary was definitely interesting, but the actual kind of coming together, the filmmaking itself, personally wasn't for me. It's not something I've seen as a full-length documentary before. I would have expected to have seen this as something more in a documentary short. So the fact that it's been made into a full-length documentary, and the fact that it's been put into the full-length category and nominated for this Oscar is obviously, you know, groundbreaking, but just personally it just wasn't for me. And then we have The Mole Agent, which is another one that I'm like, this was not for me. I just didn't get it. I didn't get whether it was meant to be serious or funny, and that's never good when you're going into a film just not really knowing whether something's supposed to be serious or supposed to be funny. So this journalist, investigative detective person, I'm not sure exactly what he is. I'm sorry, there is a lot of snow melting outside the window, so if you can hear dripping, that's what that is. He sort of puts an ad out for looking for an older gentleman to do some undercover work at this retirement home in the San Francisco area, I believe it is. And so you see it from the placing of the ad to the interviewing of the people, and then to the training of this one guy, the mole agent, with his various different things like his camera glasses and his microphone pen, and the fact that he has to take notes, and the fact that he has to FaceTime this other guy, and this other guy is going to pretend to be his son. And yeah, it's an interesting concept of like somebody going undercover in a retirement home to try and expose something. I never really understood what they were trying to expose either. And then, yeah, there were moments where I was like, is it serious or is it comedy right now? So yeah, that one definitely wasn't for me. And I think had it not been the 2021 Oscars, it probably wouldn't have ended up being nominated. I've definitely watched much better documentaries in the past year that I would much prefer, but then it's not about me, it's the Academy, isn't it? And then finally we have Collective, which follows the nightclub fire in Bucharest that then spawned, it opened up a whole can of worms. So obviously the nightclub fire itself, there was a big, there was a band performing, something was on fire, the club was exposed as not having the right procedure for, you know, people leaving. Many people died. People died at the time, and then a load more people tragically died following their burn injuries. And this opened up the can of worms of the hospitals in Romania, their disinfectant processes and the way they handled the patients that they had. And it goes so much higher up than just the directors of the hospital. It goes to the people who supplied the disinfectant, and then the Minister for Health, and there's just all this corruption all over the place. And it follows these journalists that are exposing this corruption. And yeah, if you like the kind of true crime stuff that we have on Netflix that everyone is watching right now, I think that you will like Collective, because you think that there's nothing more that can happen, and then other stuff is exposed. However, it's just disgusting, because this is people's health and people's lives, and people are literally dying because of the corruption and the incompetence. And the fact that it exposes all of this, like, is such good journalism. And it's somebody documenting this as the journalists are exposing it. So it's like journalism squared, like journalism to the power of 2. So yeah, the fire itself was tragic, and then everything else that's unfolded it is just so tragic. Like, it's just, each of these documentaries are so different. So I don't know how, when they come to judge, how they can measure one against the other, because, you know, I would have real trouble judging something like that versus The Mole Agent versus My Octopus Teacher. And then you've got, yeah, CRIP camp as a whole separate thing, again exposing a lot of things that shouldn't be happening, and creating a revolution like in Collective. And then you've got Time, again exposing a lot of things that shouldn't be happening and shouldn't be the case right now in the world that we live. And so how do you compare these things against each other? I think sort of cinematically speaking, My Octopus Teacher is, you know, pleasant to watch, and it's very kind of like almost soothing, but it does have a narrative, it does have a story. And so if they're looking for something that's kind of like not something that'll rock the boat, then, you know, that could be a choice. However, I think that I personally took the most enjoyment from CRIP Camp, and I would highly recommend, if you have Netflix, watching that one. It's a definite big recommendation from me. However, I think possibly the one that is going to take home the Oscar is Collective, just because of everything that it has exposed and everything that has kind of come out at a, you know, massively high government level as a result. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a sort of follow-up documentary from this one, because this only took us up to elections a few years ago. There has been another election in Romania since, and so yeah, I think that would be my pick. Let me know in the comments, either if you have watched any of these documentaries, your thoughts on them, or what you think is going to take home the Oscar for Best Picture this year. I will be back with more Oscars week videos. I will leave the playlist in the end screen for you. Make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss out on any of my Oscars content or my bookish content when it comes back, and hit that notification bell to be notified. I will see you with another video very soon. So I will see you then. Thanks for watching.